picked out 10 books today that we are going to read the first sentence of, and then based on whatever first sentence I like the most, we're gonna read it and we're gonna vlog it. Now, to do this in the most fair way so that I didn't know what book they all were, I actually had some really lovely supportive friends make a Google Doc for me, and I have all the first sentences in a little jar for me to pick from, and then after I can go look at what they all belong to. Even though I'm saying first sentence, we actually did decide to go with the first 3 sentences just because sometimes the first sentence didn't give enough. Really, the idea is that my first impression will choose whatever book I decide to read. Also, let's give credit where credit is due. I have seen this style of video before and I got inspired by it. So the people I've seen this from is Jensen, Jamie, and Mel. And I'll leave all of their videos that I've seen linked down below so that you can watch them if you also enjoy this, because I have so much fun watching it and seeing what everyone is going to pick. Now, this is the 10 that I picked right here. Should we rank these really quickly to see like what I think I'm going to pick? I think we should. I think that this could be the order that I choose them in. This is what I'm most excited for and what I'm least excited for, even though I'm excited for literally all of these. And with that, let's do our first pick for our first sentence. Reading out loud is really hard. Why did I decide to do this? 2 names remain on Isthmus Izakio's list of wage men to dismiss from the company. Only 2. Thank all the gods of Older that Izakio doesn't believe in. She's sick of handing out notices of being the bad guy, even though it's part of her job. The part that people know and hate her for. Okay, obviously, do know which one this is connected to. It is The Last Contract of Izakio by Fonda Lee. This didn't call to me. It wasn't a bad first sentence, but I think if I didn't know what the story was, this wouldn't be one that I like automatically was like, yes, I want to pick this up. First sentence number 2. This one maybe? A swirling mist, the chime of anklets in the long grass, a voice in the wind. Ooh, this is mysterious. There's not like a lot going on in this one, but somehow does have me a little intrigued. I also have no idea what that could belong to. First sentence number 3. Neither of these have like fully called to me yet. Whoever first said, "There's nowhere to go but up," lied. Things can always get worse. Always. That's good. That one is really good in my opinion. I feel like that is a narrative tone that I really like and can relate to. Like, I could see myself saying something like this in my internal head, like my speaking voice. So this one really grabbed my attention. I have a feeling, just gut instinct, this is Stormbreaker. I think it's one of these 3 actually for sure, but it's giving a little bit younger vibe. So Stormbreaker, because that's a YA dystopian. I'm gonna leave this one over here because I do think that could be a winner. Number 4. The bells stopped tolling hours ago, so it must be near midnight. It's certainly dark enough. Cold too, especially in my chambers. This one really set up atmosphere, and I do like that. However, I do think something that grabs my attention more than this is something like this, which kind of sets up the narrative tone of the character. I have actually been noticing that that's something that really pulls my attention when the first sentence, the first chapter, is setting up our character, not necessarily the atmosphere of the story, and we get like a little bit of like her decision making ability, like who she is as a person and like where she came from. I feel like that has to be like set up really quickly for me in like probably some decent action too. And although I think that this sounds good, I don't think that that beats this one yet. I don't remember which one we're on already. Ooh, a big boy. Oh no. Rune didn't want to freeze to death in some shitty rundown cabin. She was bundled so tightly in a mound of blankets she could barely move. The air as brittle as her breasts, the unnatural cold rattling her lungs too violently for a 14-year-old unused to freezing temperatures. Her mother muttered to herself as she tracked a path across the wooden floors, fading from one window to the next, looking for any signs of life. I'm confused because this says a 14-year-old. I don't know what this could be. I did like this. I think the style of how this was written worked really well. Again, like I really like how simple the prose is, but still like told me a lot about the scene and everything. But I still think I like this one more. I don't know. This just like spoke to me as a person. Another one. This one? It's already like come apart. I can't even read this. Oh my god, this is funny. I can't believe this is the first line. If we had just been going off first line, I think this would have won. My fiance smells like feet. Knox slings an arm around my neck and yanks me closer, causing me to trip. My hand slam into his chest to stop myself from falling, and I inhale another whiff of that sour smell. That's funny. Wait, I don't know out of these two which ones I want. I like both of these for different reasons. That one just made me laugh a lot, which I like. Okay, we're gonna keep both of those for now. Next one. The dizzy game was Magpie's one request before Birdie goes. The room whirls and blurs around them as they spin in circles, hand clasped, until little Magpie can't hold on anymore. She flies away. I have a guess on this one, actually. I think that it is the House of Quiet, which is like all the way down at the bottom of this pile. I want to say I remember this from the synopsis way back when, that they had like little code names. And I know that this one has like a sister going off to like an institute. Again, I liked this, but it just doesn't hold up to like the other two. They both were funny. I think that is interesting because like they both had like a little bit of a joke to them. And that's what caught my eye in both of those. There's only 3 left. We're gonna do this one, I guess. I stand at the feet of a god as a nobleman confesses his latest lie. The colossal statue of the god of truth looms behind me, while the man with blue-black hair whispers details of how he conned a wealthy woman out of her fortune. I glance to the side. I do like this one. It feels very, very political. I wonder if this is Warrior Assassin Princess. I don't think it beats what these two did. I think like I really like what this is setting up, and I could see this being very strong. But I think what I like about this is probably the story it's about to set up, not just like the speed dating of the first couple lines. And the idea of this is that I pick based off the first couple lines. So I'm gonna go with the no pile for that one. Okay. The village was quiet, but it wouldn't stay that way for long. All the more reason to hurry. With the wooden yoke stretched across my shoulders, I rounded the corner of the blacksmith's shop. I think the first line of this, the village was quiet, but it wouldn't stay that way for long, would have also gotten me. I feel like that's a really good first line. But then the rest of it, I kind of was waiting for like something else. So I think a no pile for this as well. But the blacksmith's shop is always interesting. I have no idea what that could be. Okay. Our last one! Oh my god, we did this so quickly. Da-da-da! Da-da-da! It was upside down. What is justice? That's the question I've asked myself repeatedly over the past 8 days. Is it following the law to the letter? Oh, that's good too. Oh no, I'm actually pretty sure I also know what one this is, just because it feels so like on the nose. For the last book in this stack, which is The Dissection of a Murder, which is a legal thriller. I think these are my final 3. I don't know what one to pick. I need to read them all again. Hold on. Whoever first said there's nowhere to go but up lied. Things can always get worse. Always. What is justice? That's a question I've asked myself repeatedly over the past 8 days. Is it following the law to the letter? That sounds good. My fiance smells like feet. Knox slings an arm around my neck, yanks me closer, causing me to trip. My hand slam into his chest to stop myself from falling, and inhale another whiff of that sour smell. This one's funny. This one's funny, but I think I'm putting in the no pile. I think when I read both of these, I had more of an instant like thought again the second time. This one just made me giggle so much on my first read because I wasn't expecting it. But I think when it comes down to it, both of these give me a better idea of the character, their thinking process, and also the situation they're in. One is contemplating like what the law is, so they're obviously in some kind of like legal thing. And then this one is like, things are bad. Like obviously we're in a crisis right now. And I think both of these also give me a sense of urgency. I'm really unsure. I'm really, really unsure, guys. I don't know what to do. I like both of these a lot. I'm torn. I don't know what to do. Do I ask for more words? I think I need to do that because I don't think I can choose off of this. I'm in a love triangle right now. So I need more, like, you know, I need to get to know them a little bit more. So I will be back. I'm going to get us some more sentences. I just realized I actually was missing an entire book from the stack. There was only 9 books in that stack, but A Vow and Vengeance was supposed to be on there. And also I am very excited to read this one. I would probably slot it honestly like right here. But I have 3 more lines for each of the 2 that we were stuck on written on my computer. Shout out to my friends. They're incredible. They did this so quickly. So now we have, what is justice? That's the question I've asked myself repeatedly over the past 8 days. Is it following the law to the letter, or is it ensuring real justice is carried out, even if it means slightly bending the rules? Most people never need to think about it. Would I class myself as a rebel? Oh, I don't know if that's the book I think it is anymore. What is it? And then our other one is, whoever first said there's nowhere to go but up lied. Things can always get worse. Always. You can plummet further between the cracks and crevices because no true rock bottom exists to help the descent of misfortune. Kalani Keynes knew that lesson better than most. Heavy shackles shaped her wrist and ankles. I don't know if this helped. This is really hard. I thought this would be really easy. I thought there was going to be one that I knew like right away. But I think I'm gonna go with whoever first said there is nowhere to go but up. I think everything about this has me intrigued and I'm kind of nervous. So let's figure out what they all are without toppling all the books over. I was correct. Oh my God. What is Justice actually was a dissection of murder. That last sentence, would I class myself as a rebel, really did throw me off. This one sounds so good and I'm really excited to get to it. And I do think that those like sentences were really well done. They were written well. I did enjoy what I read from there. So this has definitely gone up on my TBR. Now the other one, the third finalist, was Stormbreaker. I was not expecting this YA dystopian to have a conversation about fiancé smelling like feet. I also didn't expect a conversation on fiancés in this. So those were our first two finalists. And dun da da da, the one we ended up picking, that is whoever first said there's nowhere to go but up, A Stark View. This is funny that it was on the top of my priority list, but it just really goes to show how shocking things are, because although this was on the top and this was pretty close to the top, this was on the very bottom. And now it would be here. It would be second. That's kind of cool. It's really cool to like put all the like first sentences to a face as I'm like looking at this. I really just want to get to reading. I'm roughly 100 pages into A Stark View. I don't have a lot of thoughts, if I'm being honest. I've been listening to the audiobook for this because we had a hyperfixation yesterday that will continue on into today, and I will showcase that to you after we talk about the book. Something I'm struggling with is like what the point of this story is. So far, it's just like we're existing in a prison and she's surviving the prison, but there's no like overarching goal, which I think is something I really do look for in stories. I just am like, okay, so what's the point? Is she trying to escape the prison? Is she trying to take down the prison? Like, what is the end goal of this actual story? So far, it just feels for her to survive and to maybe fall in love with this guard. It kind of reminds me how I felt reading another prison dystopian-ish romantasy. I cannot remember the name right now, but hopefully I can remember it when I'm editing and I can pop it on the screen for you. That one was, I think, a little bit more darker, a little bit more like sexual heavy than this. Like, there hasn't been like smut or like sexual things happening in this one really, besides like a guard interaction that went poorly. But I think that that's to be given in a setting of a prison, so like that's fine. I just didn't want an excess of it, which is something I got in the series that I can't remember the name of. Is it Savage Bonds? But I'm just unsure if this is a setting that works for me without a concept. So I have read a prison setting before that I liked, To Cage a Wild Bird, but in that one, the whole premise, like it's set up from the very beginning that she is trying to escape. Like she is essentially running an inside job trying to get out and free people. And so I think there was always that plot thread pulling me through, and I'm just unsure where this book is going, and so I'm not as invested because of that. And it just feels like character moments for a character that kind of reads very like empty. Like I feel like she's an empty vessel for you to insert yourself. There's not a lot to her in my opinion, so I'm not really loving this. Right now it feels like a 3-star. It's really easy to listen to. The audiobook is really good. It gives a little bit of a darker vibe with like the narrator, the way she says things, and I do like that. It does fit like the prison setting and things like this, so like I'm enjoying it. I'm just not like blown away. It just feels very like simple, for lack of a better word, because this feels rude to say, basic. And there's just like nothing exciting me in this, but also I'm not really feeling the need to DNF it or anything because it is like really easy to listen to, and especially with me like doing some stuff today, I think that'll be very nice. So let's talk about my hyperfixation, because we will have some more audiobook listening time I think today while I hyperfixate on this. I spent all day yesterday working on a to be played. I had this idea of just wanting to scratch things off. Originally I saw it and I was like, what if I made a scratch off for my physical TBR? But then that's constantly changing, so that didn't really work for me. But I just like felt the want to just have this scratch off board somewhere in my house, and so I was like, oh, what about video games? So I unlocked Canva and created a to be played. with all the video games, and the idea is I'm gonna put some scratch off on them, and then I'll get to scratch them off and like uncover them as I complete the game, which will also hopefully encourage me to complete games because I am a serial game starter. And I did put a couple that I'd already finished on this board just because I was like, well, I want to get to that really quickly. Like I want to be able to do that. That'll feel really good for my brain, and it'll encourage me to complete some other ones on the board as well. This is really exciting. These are like a lot of the games I'm super excited in. Now this didn't work out. I made a really dumb mistake on Canva, and I thought the ruler at the top was in centimeters, and so I googled how many centimeters are in an inch because I ordered stickers that are scratch off that are 1 inch. They're right here. I actually am returning these. There's 2.5 centimeters in an inch. However, the measurement was in inches, so these are all 2.5 inches, and that is not going to work. So I actually ended up ordering another one of these that I'm gonna go pick up today from Staples, where I made them 2 inches because I ended up liking how big those looked and didn't want to go as small as 1 inch unless I like downscaled the entire poster, which I didn't really want to do either. So fingers crossed the one today works, and then I have 2-inch scratch off stickers coming. If these don't work, there is a way to make scratch off paint with putting clear packing tape down on your surface and then taking equal parts acrylic paint to dish soap. And the dish soap makes it so your paint does not cure properly to whatever you put the tape over. And so then you can scratch it off. So if this doesn't work, I think I will try this method because this is supposed to be really cheap. Printing from Staples is about $15 to $20 for me. So I wanted to do this like pretty cheap, and then I got these for like $10. It ended up being more expensive because I had to do 2 prints, but I don't want to spend more than that, I think, on this. I'm very excited to see how it goes. I can go pick up the next one, like the proper one right now. It's ready, but I don't think my 2-inch stickers come until later today. I'm very excited to like audiobook and put the stickers on. I was just audiobooking while I made this graphic yesterday. There's some really good ones on here. I have a really good lineup of games to play. I'm very, very excited to see what this brings, and I think it's gonna look really cute in my library downstairs. This is the corner that we never see because this is the front door. But
yes, it is.
I think we're gonna put this like
27.25 divided by 2 is... Yes, Pip. Good answer. Look at this cool turning light in there.
my fingers getting really
Well,
tired.
you don't have to press so hard. Your finger's white. Using a tape measure as a finger.
What is going on here? I am so happy that this worked. I'm so excited. I can cross off this one now, and I can also cross off Fire Emblem Three Houses. Technically, I'm also done the main story of Remnant 2. However, we're still kind of currently playing it, trying to 100% it. I will count just completing the game as finishing it, but I think I'm gonna leave scratching it off to when I think we're done like constantly playing the game, if that makes sense. But we are gonna scratch off Fire Emblem Three Houses. Look at that. I actually am so impressed with this little DIY project. I would definitely do this again for other things. It wasn't hard once I figured like everything out and like the dimensions and everything. Just obviously I had a little mishap with my inches to centimeters. But very, very, very happy with this. And I have the urge to play a new game. Like I'm like, we are 4 biomes into like 12 in Valheim. Should I continue this? Should I actually finish Expedition 33? I have to decide whether I'm gonna finish it or just DNF it. Should I play more Final Fantasy 16 and The Witcher 3? It's just like, now I'm like, I want to cross everything off. And the best part is I can just print off another one and just layer it, and I'll still have this old one if I ever want it, which is exciting because it was honestly, it should have been a $30 DIY, especially because I already had the frame. If you didn't have the frame, probably like $40. It costed me a lot more than that because I kept messing up the print. But now that I have the print figured out, it would be a really easy, cheap DIY. I've just been listening to this book while playing Disney Dreamlight Valley, which is honestly my favorite way to listen to an audiobook, and I've made really good progress. I'm on chapter 25, so about 100 pages left. I have just under an hour of listening time left according to my phone. I liked the last 50 pages probably the best in the entire book. I feel like we're finally getting like stuff about the whole society and the world before and why we're underground and things like that and what the actual problem is. I feel like we've set up, oh, our characters need to do this. They have this mission that they have now given themselves because they found out all the secrets of the world and now they're like, well, we can't let this happen. I feel like I was missing that throughout the rest of the book, and I feel like it just happened too little too late for me to actually fully be invested. There's a scene where she gets a journal and she reads this journal and I'm like, I needed that 100 pages ago, 200 pages ago, because that really set up the stakes, that really set up like what we need to do, a plot thread. Most of this just kind of felt slice of life. It felt like we were just following this character as she learned things about herself, about other people, and I'm confused why it's set in a prison. The prison setting to me was not necessary, and maybe it's that I don't 100% love a prison setting. It has worked for me before, but it also has really not worked for me. I just think they don't even really exist like a prison. I think if you had just separated these people, the guard and the MC, if you had separated them by class system or something like that, it's exactly the same, because that is what they're doing essentially here by making her a prisoner and him a guard, like she's lower than him. But so much of this prison just doesn't make sense for me. There is like this pit that they compete in, and obviously in a prison something like this could happen for like entertainment and things like that, so like that wasn't my issue. My issue was then when like prisoners and guards started getting into the pit together. That made no sense, because the battles in this prison are to the death, which also not sure I'm sold on the fact that you would have prisoners that you are using as your working force and letting them kill each other in the pit that is supervised. I think that it would be happening less supervised maybe, but I'm not 100% on board with all that. But really what my biggest issue was, the guards and the prisoners go into this pit and a prisoner can kill a guard, and I just think that in a prison setting that would not happen. Like I personally just think that that doesn't make sense, because you don't want the prisoners to feel like they have any sort of control or give them hope for freedom or things like that. I just don't think that that makes sense, because that is what you're doing within this, and like letting them quote unquote win gives them a sense of power that you don't do in a prison setting. And so I'm really kind of struggling with that. It would have made sense if we just let prisoner versus prisoner and maybe guard versus guard. Even guard versus guard to the death is a little uncertain, because you would still be showing off weakness in my opinion. But the prisoner versus guard I really had an issue with. Just in general, I feel like it doesn't really feel that much like a prison. There are a couple scenes with a different guard treating them terribly that I see it with, but for the most part they're having secret talks, they're wandering around, there's not a lot of rules and restrictions and things like that, and I think that that is something I don't like. If you're gonna give it a prison setting, make it feel like a prison, make it feel like it matters to me. Like, why did you pick this setting? This could have just been some sort of like existing setting, especially with them being underground. You already have the forced proximity that I think the prison was supposed to do with this underground bunker-ish thing that humanity has to live in. You also already have a dystopian setup, so it wouldn't be weird to have a workforce of a lower class citizen within this bunker. I just think this doesn't read dystopian enough for me. This, I'm struggling with that. I just don't really see the commentary as much. There are some cool things. I liked this discussion on how humanity was tied to their screens and we kind of just like stopped caring because we knew we wouldn't be alive. Like there was a whole paragraph about that, actually from the villain, which I thought was interesting. I did like that discussion. I think it's a real discussion that we have as we're addicted to our screens and stuff. And so many times I've seen people not care about climate change or something like that because they're like, well, I'll be dead when it happens. And that just like is a problem that humans have and things like that. I feel like we get very few instances of it, and most of this is just her existing. I don't know how else to say it. I like a little bit more action to my stories, and I definitely like my main character to have to do things for that action. I don't want it to just feel like my main character's along for the ride. I want to feel like her choices are mattering, her decisions and things she's doing are mattering, and like maybe she steps out of line a couple times and that affects the journey. I really want it to feel like she has some sort of agency to her. And for me, agency tends to be a lot in actions, which I think is just who I am as a person and how I self-insert into stories and things like that, because I do think that I am someone who does not think long. I do first and then I think later. That comes with it too, because I think she will have agency later on, but I think she's processing and she's thinking a lot. But for me, that's really boring. I don't want to just be in your head. I want to see the changes, if that makes sense. I probably should have DNF'd this, but at the point I am right now, the act of reading is just really good for me, whether I'm enjoying the book a lot or whether I'm only enjoying it a little bit. The act of reading and accomplishing that is working well for stimulating my brain to want to read and to do things. So I feel like having to start another book felt even more awful to me than just finishing this one. And I didn't hate this. It's probably like a 2.5, maybe a 3-star. I'm just a little bored. So I'll catch you when I'm done it. And I probably won't have a lot of updated thoughts. I'll let you know if I decide to continue. I think that that will be a really good, valuable thing. If I'm like, oh, I actually would like to continue this, that means it's a 3-star. If it's not, it's probably a 2.5. I'm done the book. I don't think my thoughts got any better. They honestly might have gotten worse, even though I did really like the last 150 pages. I think the last 150 pages could have been stretched out to make the entire book. I think I wanted something that this book wasn't. I was like, oh, we're finally escaping the prison and things like that, and that's what I wanted from the entire book. This is not what this book is ever set out to be, but it's what I wanted. It's what I really, really wanted, because I was like, oh, this part was good. It just happened so quickly. And again, I stand by the fact that the prison setting didn't actually matter. Even with the escaping element, they have to escape more than just the prison. So in my brain, the prison just did not need to exist. There was no part of this that felt that it couldn't exist in a different setting that was just an underground ward. And I don't even know the male's name. I literally cared so little that I don't even really know his name, because Takashi actually is his name. I do know his name. I'm lying to you all. But it's just like, he wasn't that good. Neither was she. I didn't feel invested into any character. I wasn't invested into this storyline. I listened to this story, and it's a story that I read. And I think that's about it for me. I don't think it had enough dystopian commentary for me in literally anything. I'm like, where was more of the discussions on humanity and things like that? There were like little bits, as I said earlier, but not enough to warrant this being called a dystopian. Obviously, there's no fantasy in it though. Like, there's no magic. It's more like a dystopian setting than a dystopian book, if that makes sense. Which is such a blurry line, because what do people mean when they say dystopian, you know? But overall, this is just a story I read, and I will be unhauling this. I don't think I will be continuing. I'm happy I read it. I feel accomplished having finished a book this month, and it makes me want to start another book because I feel accomplished about it, and that's what I need currently. So still happy that I read this one. And people who read it in my Discord, because I did put like an impromptu buddy read up of it, did enjoy it more than me. So it could be a me problem. It could just be characters that I don't care about and that maybe you'll feel more attached to, especially if we have different viewpoints on stories and things like that. But for me, this was just a really mad book. There's nothing inherently wrong with it, but I was really bored. So it is a 2-star, and we will be blessing and releasing it. But I am happy that this video existed still. I may have picked the wrong book. I did like the writing style in this quite a bit still. There were moments of the like first line like that throughout the whole thing where I got like little references to like human sayings and things like that, and then they were like twisted, or she put a little bit of personality to them or things like that. So I did like those elements quite a bit, which is what made me pick this originally. So I couldn't go back and pick another book, even though I do think Dissection of a Murder could have been a win. Now my brain is like, should I just read that now to see if it would have been a win, you know? Like, would I have been right? But I would love to do a 1-book vlog again. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was fun. I loved doing the speed dating of my TBR, my physical TBR. It was an easy way to not only get a book down off my TBR, but also have me experience some of those first books and get either like more excited or less excited for them. Like, I definitely think I'm going to prioritize Dissection of a Murder and some of the other ones that were top on that list after those first couple sentences. So I really did enjoy this, and I'm hoping that this means that I will continue to pick things off my physical TBR instead of off of KU and things like that to help this goal. But thank you so much for hanging out with me, and let me know if you have any other 1-book vlog recommendation videos. I think I want to do a scavenger hunt maybe soon. I feel like this was an easy way to kind of get me excited about reading again and to not feel like a vlog is like long and drawn out and give me some space to breathe. So I want to do some more. If you'd like to continue hanging out with me, I'm gonna leave some other vlogs that I really, really love and am passionate about on the screen for you to check out. And if you made it all the way to the end of this video and you'd like to leave me an emoji just to say you were here, leave me a key emoji because we got to get out of a prison. And I hope you have yourselves an absolutely remarkable day.